Welcome to the Press Box with C. Will. I am your host today, C. Will, and today we have a great show for you. We have a great show planned today. Um, we're almost to Saturday. We're at Hump Day. Happy Hump Day to each and every one of you. We're only almost 2 days away from the big game in Fayetteville this weekend, where the Hogs take on Kent State for the home opener. That's going to be in Fayetteville this weekend. And Sam Pittman has made his second and final press conference before this week's game. And we're going to take a look at it. And he also is going to give a report on the injury status of Rocket Sanders. So without further ado, I'm going to dive right in and we're going to see what Sam is talking about.
Hey, Coach. Yeah, obviously, you said on teleconference earlier that you might have some update on Rocket. Any...
Yeah, I don't have any more news at this point. Uh, Obviously, he had practice. He's not practice today either, so that that would limit him at best in the game, regardless of what we find out. But I don't think it'll be a lengthy injury either way. But we wanted some different guys to look at it, and so that's what we're doing. And so we'll know something definitely by this afternoon.
So basically, to me, it sounds like that they want to get uh, uh, more opinions. He don't sound like he's too alarmed, but it does sound like he won't be playing this week because if you don't practice by Wednesday, then that means that your reps on Saturday are going to be limited, and there's guys that are taking those snaps right now that are probably going to be more prepared and more sharper because they actually have been getting the practice reps. So, based on what how I see it, I don't see Rocket playing this week. Coach said that he doesn't anticipate this being a lengthy deal. Hopefully, it's just a week. But the good news is that we have a great running back room. We have a stable running backs, and I'm not saying that neither of the ones that we have healthy are anything like the Rocket, but um, the Binion has experience, solid. Uh, Dominique Johnson used to start before he got hurt. He was actually starting in front of Rocket 2 years ago. So he's an experienced guy, and AJ Green is experienced, and they all can do some, can make plays out there. So at least for this week, I feel like we have enough talent to uh, take care of business still, despite not having the Rocket. So the next point that stood out to me when I watched his conference was him speaking about the depth of the running back position that his team has, and Sam feels like he's confident and as far as being able to take care of business today, I'm sorry, this weekend, but um, let's make sure we get him back healthy before conference play. So here I have a clip where he's going to speak about the depth of the position.
AJ and Damo, keep going back to 2 years ago, we had the same guys on the team. And Damo was the starter. Later in the season, kept trying to get him more and more carries. Sometimes we did, sometimes we didn't. But when we did, he was very successful. So I feel really good. You never want to lose a player for a game or two or whatever it may be. But that room is loaded with really good players. And we like Isaiah as well. So got some carries last week. Looked pretty good to me. Very physical runner. So Jimmy's done a nice job of recruiting that room. So we feel very confident in that room. If Rocket wasn't able to play play, that we'd be fine.
Right. So again, you can see that he has confidence in that position. A lot of quality guys, to choose from. So we just hope that whatever it is with the Rocket, that it's not serious, and before the game start getting really serious, we start moving, deeper into the season, that he can be back 100%, so we can be fully loaded. So the next thing that stood out to me was the penalty situation. He spoke about the penalties that we got last week, and I like the emphasis that Coach said that they put on it, because a lot of the guys that we have are not that experienced, not all that experienced. So you have to keep teaching, in the midst of actually the guys having, success. So we're going to play this clip where he's talking about the penalties and what they did about it.
My last thing, you mentioned Monday that you were sending in a number of plays regarding penalties. I wonder if you got any clarifications on some things that maybe we didn't see that got called that that would help.
Yeah, and a couple of them, to be honest with you, we showed to the team because they needed to know the interpretation of the officiating crew from the SEC. So we're always, you don't necessarily send in the penalties to say, well, I'm right, you're wrong, to find out the explanation of why the call was made. There was a few of them.
So he said that he actually sent inquiries about the penalties to the SEC so they can give more clarification. And he's going to use that as a teaching tool to try to, teach the players, about the right way to play the game within the rules. So I think that's a good thing by Coach.
That they felt like that, maybe shouldn't have been called, things of that nature. I guess if you did every single play, you'd find some that they should have called too. You know what I mean? So, but the one, let's say, when John Morgan got the personal foul for hitting the quarterback low, mine was, I felt like he was held and thrown into the quarterback. And the interpretation was when you take that edge, when you turn that edge, it's really your responsibility to stay high on the quarterback. And then we showed this Clemson quarterback sliding. Obviously, we showed that to KJ because he was short. We showed it to the team because that's a dead ball at that point. And even though the personal foul came after that, Duke still retained the football. We had in our first scrimmage, we had kind of an identical deal. It was a late hit out of bounds.
So yeah, Coach, he goes on a little bit about that as far as the penalties. So hopefully, we'll see improvement. Him actually, teaching the interpretation of the actual rule. We should see great improvement from, our team and the way that we play. And the next thing that stood out to me, he spoke about our offensive line. And he spoke actually about Kent State's offensive line in their situation and what they're dealing with. He actually spoke about how Kent State is struggling with personnel, even though they have guys, but they had to replace their whole offensive line. And that's something that most teams don't have to go through. A new coach, a new offensive line, and transfer players at the quarterback, running back, and wide receiver positions. So you have a lot of guys out there not comfortable and not really knowing what's going on. Thus, that's why they probably got beat 55-6 last week. So he's going to talk a little bit about that here once I can pull up that clip. Live away. Okay, here we go.
Coach, Kent State's got 5 new first-year starters on the offensive line. I was just curious, you were an offensive line coach for 25 years on the FBS level. Have you ever had an instance like that where you had to break in 5 brand new guys? And if so, what are some of the challenges that you run into in a situation like that?
I have not. Now, I've had a lot of jobs where they were 5 new starters for me, but not necessarily for the team. Well, there's a lot of challenges because, it takes you a little while to figure out who's tough, who you depend on, things of that nature. That's as offensive line, that's key. Who's your communicator? Who's your leader? Where you want to put him? Uh, do you have a center that can play? Can you protect the edge? All those type of things go into it. You just start piecing it in, and obviously it takes a little while. And I look for them to their old line to become better and better. They do have some skill and some talent, and then those guys have played, because you said it, but then with them being transfers and things of that nature, so it's a lot easier to bring one, maybe two in O line, but bringing in a lot better starters becomes difficult, and then they don't know their coach and all that kind of stuff. But I thought they did a nice job last week. I look for them to play much better than they did last week.
I like it when coach does that. I mean, if you look at what he was saying that they're struggling, the context of what he's saying is that they're struggling because guys don't really know what's going on because everybody's new. But then he said that they did a great job last week, but they lost 55-6. So, to me, that's kind of like, you don't want to, down talk the team or do anything to give your opponent any extra advantage, which that's very smart of him. But Kent State is in bad shape, and I think that one of the factors that is going to contribute to how we play is motivation. And just like what coach was saying about what they're going through, the team sees that too. And you hope that the team doesn't, start to, look at the numbers and start to believe that hype. Because remember what happened last year when we played against Liberty, another smaller school that we just thought we was going to run over, and they ended up coming to Fayetteville and actually dominating us. So we definitely want to still respect them, despite them struggling right now. You don't want to give them any life. So I'm going to move to that part of the press conference where he was speaking about motivation. It's right here.
I mean, if you just look at college football the first week and what happened, we're going to have to learn a lesson from us not playing our best ball, or we're just going to go play our best ball and play against ourselves and not worry about who, the opponent. I obviously know you're going to get amped up more against a name, whoever the name may be, school, somebody in the SEC than possibly you would against Western Carolina. I mean, I understand that. But at the same time, if you don't get ready to play, don't prepare, you're going to get beat. And we're going to be one of those teams that everybody in the country is talking about. And I just kept asking them, do we need to be surprised? Do we need to be taught a lesson? Or are we just going to go practice hard? I wasn't particularly happy with the way the complete practice went yesterday. And I talked to him about that after.
Okay, so he just said it. He wasn't happy with practice yesterday. So, that's telling you that, the team could be dealing with motivation, maybe being overconfident because you had a big win this week and they had a big loss. Players look at that. So it's important for coach to make sure that, he keeps them focused, keeps them hungry, and keeps them wanting to get better, because it's not really about your opponent at this point in the year. It's about yourself, and you have to get yourself ready to play every night, every week, I should say. Any given Saturday, anybody can win. And one more point that stood out, and I'll be able to conclude the summary of this press conference. Okay, I think it's 20 minutes. Okay, here we go.
This week, in terms of in practice with those things.
Yeah, I thought the ones looked really good yesterday.
He's speaking about our offensive line.
It's not. Depends on how you look at it. But, I'd like to find 5 guys that this is our left tackle, this is our right tackle, this is this. I would like to find that. And then be able to play, right now up to around 8 guys. I would like to do that we haven't been able to do that just simply because we've been beat up here, beat up there, things of that nature. Now, are the 5 guys that started last Saturday our 5 best? Heck, I don't know. It is nice to have Brady back this week. But consistency of those guys, you want to find your 5 best and let them go play, and then hopefully you've got up to 8. We're still not there yet. We're not healthy enough to be there at this point, and it's frustrating a little bit. However, I do think it'll help us down the road. But
Right. So our offensive line, as well as our defensive line, have had a lot of injuries through fall camp. So that's affecting the cohesion of both units because guys get better when they play with each other. But when you constantly plugging players in and out because they're injured, you don't build the chemistry that it takes to dominate, and that's a concern, and that's going to be a concern until we can get consistency and guys, here every week and healthy. Because we go into conference play, we're going to see better defensive fronts, and we need to have it all together. So that's basically what I took out of the press conference today. But the Rocket Sanders injury, I mean, coach says that it's not too significant, but it's significant enough for him to not, probably more than likely not play this week. So we'll definitely be keeping our eyes and ears open to see if there's any changes in his status. So, like I said, we're 2 days away from the big game this week. I'm excited about the home game. I'll be in the place. I'll actually be at the game. I'm looking forward to the recap show that we're going to have. I believe it's going to be Sunday after the game with special guests of mine by the name of Marcus Keaton. He's a football sports guru, basketball as well. So, we'll sit down and we'll analyze and discuss, that night's previous game and, and a lot of other good things. So looking forward definitely to Saturday and then Sunday with the recap show. So don't forget to subscribe onto our channel, The Press Box. Until the next time, be safe. Talk to you later.